Welcome ninjas to Code Ninjas Franklin. We are so glad to have you all in our virtual dojo here. We look forward to getting to code with you. I am Jacob Malloy. I've been programming for 9 years and I have been here at Code Ninjas since the beginning. I will be helping you guys to learn a little bit of JavaScript. We will go over the fundamentals in some short videos. That will be done by both me and Jacob Linkus, and we'll cover some fundamentals that are the same between Python and JavaScript. And then I will be taking you guys into coding some games such as Tron, Flappy Bird, and Tic-Tac-Toe in JavaScript using P5. Hello, and welcome to our first JavaScript video here. We will be talking a little bit about what JavaScript is, and even getting started with our introductory JavaScript stuff, kind of the setup stuff. So JavaScript is a language used across the internet. Most websites that you use are probably using a little bit of JavaScript to do what they do. And it's a rather simple language. It's a scripting language, which makes it a little bit easier, but it's still plenty powerful to do everything we are going to be doing. So when we're using JavaScript, we're going to use a library, because when we, it's much like a dictionary, because when we write a paper, you're not going to like redefine all your words. You're probably going to use words that are already defined to make writing that paper a whole lot easier. Well, we could redefine the whole dictionary. We could rewrite everything we need, but why would we do that? It's kind of like recreating the wheel. So we're going to use P5.js, which is a library for creative people to be able to quickly put their ideas on screen, which I think is really cool. This is the website, p5js.org, and it's got lots of things. You can explore any of these, but one important thing is the reference. The reference is if you have any questions about P5, here's where you'll find the answers to those questions. So, in order for us to start with JavaScript programming, you got to have a text editor. Now, any text editor will do, but I strongly recommend using Visual Studio Code. Now, here's the website for Visual Studio Code. It's code.visualstudio.com. It's made by Microsoft, but can be used on any platform. As you can see, they have macOS, Windows, and Linux. Windows pops up since I am on Windows, and if I click on that, it takes me to this page and starts downloading it. Now, I can't quite show you the install process for that because I've already installed it, but you just step through the process and you will end up with Visual Studio Code just like this. Now, of course, yours will have an intro page instead of code already up. This is going to open up the code I already had up because it always opens up right back to where you were. But one important thing is we need to go here. See, it's just like a text editor, but you can add things on with extensions. And the extension we're going to add is going to be P5.js snippets. So you're going to hit install. I already have it. Well, I already had it installed. You install it, and it's going to help us out when we're coding in P5. We will also need Google Chrome right here. So google.com/Chrome if you don't already have it. Download it, accept and install. It's going to download an exe, click it, walk through the install process. Once again, I can't do it because I already have it installed. It will just say, yo, you've got it installed already. But what I can show you is why we use Chrome. Here's a snake game I've made, and see if I'm going around in it. But say something messed up. It's not going to mess up because I've already coded this, but if something did, you can hit F12 and it brings up this console and elements and sources and all that. Well, this console is really important because this is your JavaScript console. So anything you may want to see is going to be in here. You can even type JavaScript code right here. You could do console.log hello world. And it'll pop out just like that. So if you have any logs, they're going to come here, or if you have an error, it's going to pop up here and it's going to tell you a little bit about what's going on. you can take a look right there and see what's going on and see if you can fix it. If you can't fix it, feel free to reach out and we'll see if we can help you along that way. So now what we need to do is look at our kind of our starting point for P5. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, actually, easier trick is on your computer. You can go to the folder where you want it. I recommend making I've got a tutorial folder here. I recommend making one maybe on your desktop. Right click it and hit open with code. If open with code is not available there, you can go file, open folder, and you can select the folder. So I could select that and it'll open right on up. It's already up, so it's not going to open again. I full screen it, and then you can do Control New to make a new file, and we're going to name this p5.js. It's going to be our first one, so we're going to do Control Save. We're going to name it HTML, because we need to start out with HTML. Now, HTML and JavaScript go hand in hand. Whenever you're writing a website, you're going to have both JavaScript, HTML. You may have some CSS, and you may have a backend. But you're probably going to have HTML and JavaScript. Luckily, our HTML is real easy. We just go over to the P5 reference. We go to the Get Started. Scroll down a little, and it's got some example HTML. For most of our projects, this is going to be all that we really need. So we're going to hop right back into p5.html. We're going to paste that in there. Control V paste, Control C copies. You can, of course, highlight, right click, copy, and paste. But it's there. The one thing we're going to change is we're not going to name it sketch.js. We're going to name it p5.js so that when we have multiple files, we don't have an issue. And that's all we got to do in the HTML. So we're going to do another Control N and another Control S. This is going to be our p5.js. Right there. And this is where all of our JavaScript code is going to go. Now, with P5, there's always going to be the same setup that we're actually going to have to do. And that involves, first off, we're going to do function. Now, we're going to have another video up in our fundamentals where we talk about what functions are. So make sure you hop over and watch that after this. But we're going to say function setup. And P5 calls this right at the beginning of your code, so this is a perfect place to get things set up. In there, we need a canvas. Now, canvas in JavaScript is a place to draw because HTML is designed for making websites, and a lot of times with websites, you don't necessarily need to draw things like you do for games. You just need like buttons and forms and all that. So HTML has what's called a canvas, which allows us to draw things to the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to say create canvas. Now this is a P5 command. It's not a JavaScript command, but if we have our P5 snippets in, it pops up right there for us to see. It wants a width. Well, let's do 800. Height is 600. And our renderer is not necessary. That's if we were wanting to do 3D, we might use that. So that's going to create our canvas, but that's really nothing we can see. We also need a function draw, and that's called every frame and gets redrawn and all that. Now what we're going to need in our function draw every single time is the rest of our code. But this is where we're at. This is what you will need to start our next tutorials. This is all you will need, and we will build from this point. I probably won't show you my p5.html or whatever the name is .html. I might quickly show it in the p5.js. We will spend the whole time in, but I will not spend much time doing this part right here. Now, just so you can see, we can draw a rectangle here, and it needs an X position, so let's say 0, a Y position, which is 0, a width, which we're going to do, let's do 50, and a height, let's once again do 50. We're going to make a square, get rid of all the rest of that, put a semicolon, save. Semicolons go at the end of every line in JavaScript. And we're going to hop right over to that code. So we're going to hop into that tutorial. p5.html. You just double click on it to open it. And notice it's in the top left hand corner. That's because, remember our axis, X is this way, Y is this way, but when you are using a lot of programming languages, including JavaScript, your X, 0x is going to be on the far left over here. 0y, though, is not down here like we do it in math, but up here. And it's going to go all the way to 800 over here, 600 down here. This is kind of the intro. Once again, you need to remember that the Y is flipped, and remember that before the next tutorial, have a .html and a .javascript, and I would recommend naming it whatever the project is. So our first project is tic-tac-toe, so I would say create new, save it as tic-tac-toe.html, and I would copy this code over, and I would create my tic-tac-toe.js. So that's where you need to be to start into our next video. I hope you have enjoyed, and I look forward to coding more with you. I would like to thank you for joining us for this coding session. I would like to remind you that if you need a refresher on the fundamentals, there is some videos in the description to help you out. We will be updating those occasionally. Also, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will try to check them for you.